All right, let me try this a second time. Oh my God. The driver interrupt me and I accidentally turn off the camera. Anyway, so here's the thing, right? Um, we were installing a couple things on the bike the other day, and of course, more problems happened to the bike. Um, Long story short, I was cleaning the yard with my wife, and I figure I degreased the bike, and whatever. Long story short, I splashed the bike right all over. All right, great. So since I have installed the battery, smart battery monitor, whatever it is, which you can see the video of that, how it came out down below in my library. Um, I said, you know what? Let me start the bike. Let me see what's going on. You know, let me see if everything is accurate with the smart battery monitor and all the good stuff. I start the bike. I plug in the battery. I turn on the ignition key. I step on the throttle, jigger. And the motor just hesitates, completely hesitates, which completely sucks. And I completely hate that. Oh boy. So now what happens is the motor is not spinning, and it's just crazy, completely crazy. And I don't know what's going on. So I take my cell phone, I log in into the Kali controller via Bluetooth. I'm looking, and two things that are showing me that didn't show me before. My throttle is off the chart, and a hole sensor is not reading the hole sensor. It cannot find a hole sensor. So maybe may not know, but in Kali, in order for you to find the hole sensor, you have to put in identification, motor identification. You have to put literally type in 170, read, I'm sorry, write, and then turn off the ignition, which the Kali will turn off. Then put it back on, and the motor is the Kali and the motor is going to look for the hole sensors, and there should be three, A, B, and C. So, long story short, um, I did that, and it was spinning backwards. It jitters backwards because it's looking for the hole sensor, and it cannot find one. Um, so I play with it for quite some time, and it's disappointing. It was a mess. And what I'm thinking is because I was talking to Tony, and I think he's right and I'm right. The first thing he noticed, what I noticed, was the throttle, and of course the whole sensor uh, going on and off and reading a zero. Um, he called that out in pretty much in 2 seconds. I says, okay, that completely makes sense, and I'm looking at it. It does make sense, but I'm trying to think what I have done, right. So now I got to go backwards. So what I did was I picked up a spare um, thumb throttle, same one that I have, and I picked it up from Tony. He was nice enough to lend me one. I don't really want one. I want him to have his. You know, I'm kind of that kind of person. Like, I'll give you everything, but I don't want nothing from you. It's just I'm not that kind of guy where, I mean, don't get me wrong, I will use it, but I don't want to keep it because I know that he might need it, and he ordered it for himself. I'm glad that he lent it over to me, and until I'm done with it, I'll have it. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to first replace the throttle. If that doesn't work, what I should honestly do is replace first, detach the whole sensors, and make sure everything's connected the right way, blah, 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 blah. Well, we don't want to go through all that. And obviously, we're going to have to do it at one point because for next season, I want to be everything 100% or 110%, right? So, what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the entire system like it is disconnected right now. What I mean by only a power. And then I'm going to plug in the new throttle. And then, of course, I have on identification, motor identification 170. So, when I put the ignition on with the battery, the Kale is going to try to find the hole sensor, all three of them. So he's going to go back to do his cycle. So I got to go back, which this is the only one time that you can actually put back 85 on motor identification when the Kelly cannot find the hole sensors. So once I put on 85, I write that on Kelly, and then I go back to the application. When I start the ignition back on, Kelly won't try to find a hole sensor. So then I can turn around and I can pretty much see if it's going to read the throttle. What I might do is first I might just do the 85 on the hole sensor on the identification motor and let it write it, turn off the ignition, put the new throttle in, put the ignition back on, and boom. So it doesn't. There is no error, coming from I guess Kelly. So in reality, it could still show you a hole sensor error um, because it's not the whole sensor that you cannot find it. The whole sensor error identification is coming most likely from a throttle because remember, like I was talking with Tony, he exactly said what I was thinking that the throttle has hole sensors in there. So now I put water, the plug, okay, that they were describing on AliExpress says waterproof. In other words, the throttle waterproof. But what's waterproof is the plug. In my case, I didn't buy the waterproof plug. So my misunderstanding was that the entire mechanism, the thumb throttle itself, the mechanism was waterproof, which is not true. Because obviously I splashed the water and now I have a problem. What's going to happen is I'm going to hope that it's dry and it's going to run on its own without changing the throttle. And if it is, I'll take the throttle apart. I'll put a silicone inside, and I'll make it completely waterproof, so I don't have this problem all over again. Now, if it doesn't work, then I will change the throttle and see if she responds that way. Now, 99.9%, that's what's going to be. It's going to work. Now, it should really work after the water evaporates. To be honest with you, I don't know how much water got in there, but let's hope it evaporate the whole thing and now it's running. If it didn't, I'll use Tony's thumb throttle when I get mine from AliExpress. I give him that one. So, um, before this entire situation, we did not have that problem. We didn't have a problem where the motor wasn't running, the Kelly control was showing a hole sensor error identification. We didn't have to do identification on a hole sensors with Kelly. Everything was working 100%. I literally rode the bike that Wednesday and Thursday and didn't go on Friday because it was raining. So there was nothing to it. I can go step back and I can say, okay, so I did install the new battery managing system manager, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Okay, so I can go back, double check on that, remove that if it goes that extreme. Okay, um, what else? Check all the wires and everything. But you see, the whole thing is in Kali, the major wires is the power on for the Kali. Okay, the phase wires are simple. As long as they are separated, they are simple. And the hole sensors, as long as soldering and everything is legit and has heat string on it, it's not a problem. So I don't see anything but the water penetrating the so-called non-proof, non-waterproof um, dome throttle. So I'm hoping that I'll go in, I don't know, maybe today, and put the battery, start the bike, and it runs. If it does run, it means that the throttle got wet, which again, I'm thinking 99.9% the throttle got wet, and that's what it is. And if I go back and God, the throttle was not running, and whatever other bullshit there is, and we'll deal with that. But anyway, I think you should stick around. If I mean, the worst thing is, which I doubt it, let's say I have to get a controller, which is completely cool. We had an excuse to get the QS motor. We got the QS motor, and now we'll have excuse to get Salvaton, the 150 amps. I definitely appreciate all the donations you guys been doing through a PayPal. I definitely appreciate that. We've collected enough money, you know, this month to buy a Sabaton 150 amp controller. Thanks to the viewers' discretion and uh, donations. Well, I definitely appreciate that. It helps out the channel, the build, the project moving forward, so on and so forth. So, again, make sure you stick around to see what the new episode is all about. Uh, the next episode should be whether the bike is working, whether it was the throttle, whether it was the Kelly, whether it was the motor, whatever it was, whether it was the wire. We don't know what it is. We're assuming 99.9% that's the throttle. That's just our assumption. And sometimes, the smallest thing causes the biggest problems. So make sure you share, you subscribe, you stick around for the next episode. Definitely appreciate a donation, like always. Definitely, I am thankful for the donations that you have guys already donated. And again, make sure you stay safe and continue building your project, maintaining it, and improving it, just like I am doing. We got a nice battery management monitor, and there is one other surprise that is coming, and you guys are gonna love it. So until then, stick around, see what those surprises are coming right ahead.